Alright, well the first thing we do in Camera RAW is jump right over here to this tab called Camera Calibration, and you notice there's a whole bunch of presets. I usually just run through these to see if there's one that I happen to like more than all the rest. And very often I like the landscapes for landscapes, and neutral or portrait for portraits. We'll start with landscape in this case. Good start for us. Then jump back to the basic tab. I wish that was right up here at the basic, but it's not. So, alright, so we just start out if we need to adjust our color temperature. If it wasn't quite right, or if we want to make it warmer, we can. I think I will make this a little warmer. I'm not sure. I think I might want to pull out some greens here. Okay, there's our color. Then we adjust our exposure. This is mainly the highlight side of the exposure. If you have highlights that are already plenty hot, you might want to leave exposure where it's at. But you can push it a little extra far because you have the recovery slider next. Fill light then will open up shadows. And along with fill light, you're generally going to lose contrast. You want to push the blacks up to bring that contrast back in. Okay, brightness. If your highlights and shadows look good, but you just kind of want to lighten up the mid-tones, kind of overall brighten the image, use brightness. Contrast we kind of already took care of. Clarity, you can see if I drag this all the way up or down. Sometimes they call this definition, pop. Okay, then vibrance, smart saturation, in other words. So let's see where we've been so far. From there to here. It's looking a lot better. Okay, once we're done with this tab, I'm going to jump right over here to this HSL Grayscale tab. Click on that. I'm going to then jump up here to this little tool called the Target Adjustment tool. Click on that. And this tool will use whatever's over here. And what I want to do is get rid of these blues. So drag that down. So you just pick on a color and drag it down. Since I'm on the saturation tab, you can see it drug the blues out, and that keeps my snow nice and white. And you can actually use this for any color. If you want to up the saturation here, or you can jump over to luminance tab if you want these to be lighter. Well, just click on them and say I want this rock to be lighter, and it gets lighter. It's pretty amazing. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. Jump over to the lens correction tab, and I generally like to darken the edges a little bit. So we'll do that, because what I really want to focus on in this image is this rock right here. So drag this in a bit. You may like that, you may like less. It's up to you. Okay, now what we really want to do is we want to do our dodging and our burning to really bring focus to where we want. And for that, we're going to use the adjustment brush. You'll notice over here on the right that we have all these sliders. And we'll just set them at 0 for now. But what I'm going to do is I want to paint in some lightning. I've got auto mask turned off, and my flow's down 50%, feathers all the way up, so it's going to be a soft brush. You can adjust your brush size with your bracket keys. So I'm going to turn this up because I want to see, as I click here, this is just doing a little dodge. Okay, now that's, as you were saying, gee, that's way too much. And you're right, it is. But we can just tone that in, just dial it whatever we want right here. We can push in contrast, we can push in sharpness, all on this brush. Okay, I'm going to click the new button right here and then paint down here. This time I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to make it darker. A little bit darker, a little less contrasty. You don't want to go too far. You want to be pretty subtle with these things. Okay, so just paint in a little bit. You can paint the edges in a little more. And I think, now that I'm looking at it, I might just hold the Option key down to get my eraser. And you'll notice that our feather's a bit hard. Let's bring that back up. I'm going to actually keep some of these peaks. So we'll just bring back just the tips of these where we want to have more light. We can do that. Okay, so I like this ridge here. Some of these highlights we'll go over again. So you have pretty much complete control all non-destructively in the raw data right here. So that's the difference we made with our adjustment brushes. Before, you can tell how we really have our focus here on these areas we want to be focused on and not so much on the other ones.